transforming behavior, recognizing our savior, overcoming hurdles, achieving dreams. Together we can succeed.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Tonight on the Paula Show, we're speaking about drag racing. And my guest is Mr. Shane Potter, a.k.a. Easy P.
Yep.
It's a fast and furious night on the Paula Show tonight. It's speed, entertainment, and excitement. And if you stay with us, you may see me driving a racing car down the track. But on the serious side of things, we want to share with you how drag racing can help to contribute to the economy of Antigua and Barbuda. Stay with us on the Paula Show. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Thank you. Tonight on the Paula Show, we're discussing drag racing, and Shane Potter, Easy P, is here with us. I've heard Easy P on the radio, but Easy P and drag racing, you don't look like the drag racing type.
Oh, yeah, I used to be vicious in my time.
Vicious?
Looking to make a return. Been around for a while with it.
You've been around for a while.
Yeah.
You like drag racing?
Yeah, man, it's in my blood, you know. That's what I like to do. I like to tamper with cars, I like to drive fast. You know, the skill is all right.
Skin?
The skill.
Oh, the skill. I thought you said skin.
The
Okay,
skill is
in the
alright.
U.S., drag racing started on dry lake beds, two-lane strips on roadways, and the races were considered illegal and unsafe. I think it's the same in Antigua. Does this ring a bell? Fries Hill Road, All Saints Road, Bethesda, and Factory Road.
Yes, I've let's just say I've witnessed a few of it.
No fatalities, though.
No. I've witnessed a few road races in my time. Well, it started that way, and you know some of it was sanctioned at one point in there. Well, before my time, they had one or two races that were sanctioned. I think in the Crabs area and so on. I think as far back as, well, I can't give you the dates because that of course precedes me. But I know they had some races at the runway. I've heard about it that it was sanctioned. They had quite a few folks here from the Navy base that was into drag racing also. So, you know, ever so often they did get permission. But the majority of it was illegal because we didn't have a facility. And it was...
dangerous to other road users.
Well, at that time, the traffic wasn't so heavy. You could stay on a road and have a drag race for at least a half hour, and maybe if one or two cars pass, it's a lot. You know, it used to be that way. But now it's a car every second, a car every hour. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning is a traffic jam sometimes. Like that's how bad it is now compared to then. But races could have gone on fairly safe. Not saying it was right, but we had no other option. So a lot of folks, like older folks older than me, that's what they used to do.
That's what they used
and
to do.
I fell into it to a point because, like I say, we like to test each other's skill. And it had a lot to do with the cars too. You know, you may back a certain brand, or you may figure you could tune a car better than somebody else by fabricating something else to make it go faster. It was a lot of bragging rights,
and
you know,
all of that.
and the sheer skill of driving the cars too. Some folks could drive better than some.
Am I going to get an opportunity to drive one of these cars?
I'm sure, but not fast. But yeah, sure. it takes time to really master the whole art form.
Well, I'm a quick learner.
Yeah.
The NHRA, the National Hot Rod Association in the U.S., established rules and guidelines to govern races. So which local organization operates in a similar role?
Well, locally we have ABDRA, the Antigua and Barbuda Drag Racing Association. At the present moment, it's headed by Lisa Abraham. And what that association does, which it has done a lot over the last couple of years too, is organize the races and make sure that the drivers adhere to as much safety regulations as possible, almost in parallel, but we're trying to be in line with the NHRA in the States.
Do you consider drag racing a sport?
It is a sport. Once you compete, it's a sport.
But the Star Bulletin reported that drag racing is not a sport. It is an aggressively and insolently dangerous form of recklessness. That's a severe description.
Well, see, some people would see it that way. Just like soccer, just like cricket, we've had situations where cricket has been played and the ball hits a player, the player died, unfortunately. We've had soccer matches where you break a leg, you know, things happen. So in every sport, there's, especially competitive sports, there's some form of risk and some form of aggression because it's competition. But you see, drag racing among certain areas of society is frowned upon, so they find every super negative thing to say about drag
But
racing.
I can hear parents saying, Johnny, it's okay to go swimming. Daniel, it's all right to play football and cricket. And Karen, when are we leaving for dancing and ballet and singing and music? I'm not sure we're going to hear parents saying, Charlesworth, it's time for your drag racing practice.
Well, there are quite a few families that are supportive of each other in the sport. And you'll be surprised, you know, we're here in Antigua, but of course on the wider scale in terms of Europe, the USA, you'll be surprised how many families. There's a guy in the States, his name is John Force. He has all daughters and they all drag race. I think he has about, I could be corrected because I don't have the exact number, but I know he has at least 3 or 4 daughters that actually drag race. He has no sons. And they all drag race with their father.
He was a drag racer.
He's a drag racer. Yeah, he's still very much
is.
renowned, and his daughters have joined him into when they race cars too.
All right.
1,500 horsepower and more. Yeah.
Notwithstanding our fears, the popularity of drag racing has increased, and so has the membership. So the NHRA has over 80,000 members in the U.S.
Yep.
Is drag racing growing in Antigua? Your membership increasing?
Yes, drag racing is growing, and you know, in terms of spectators, at one particular event, you can see at least 3,000 to 4,000 people.
Really?
Right? Yeah. It happens very often, actually. And
but that's more than sometimes the number of persons who watch a football match or even a cricket match.
Yeah. Drag racing has a very big following. It's just that the potential of it hasn't been harnessed over the years. And in terms of racers, there are quite a few racers out there, at least 20-something, at least.
Men?
Yeah. And
no
we have
females.
they're females. The chairperson of the association, Lisa Abraham, she actually races. Yeah, she has a Hyundai Integra. There's also a friend of mine, her name is Amy Lake. She drives a Toyota MR2. So, there's another young lady too. She drives a Mini. I can't remember her name either right now, but you know, I will remember her name.
He's not remembering the names of the ladies,
but
he remembers the names of the males. Typical guy. But you know what? Coming up next on the Paula Show, we'll be talking about building cars for high performance. It's about drag racing tonight. And Shane Potter, Easy P, is here in studio with me. Stay with us, please. We're speaking about drag racing. Stay with us, please, because you will want to see me drive down the track. I'll be racing tonight on set, yes. Watch and see. Pure excitement tonight. You're laughing.
I'm smiling.
Don't you think I can race you?
I'm smiling.
I drive a gear shift truck.
Oh, okay.
That's all it needs.
No.
Shifting the gears.
Nope. There's a lot more than that.
All right, so I suppose you're saying that. Do you build your cars from scratch, your high-performance
There are times,
cars?
yeah. I have a car currently that it was built from scratch and it's just about ready to race.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was just a rolling frame, and I bought the engine, pulled it apart, me and my friends put in the high-performance parts.
So you rev it up and build the sides and everything
there's
that's
a
required?
a lot of science in it. It's simple to us to a point after a while. With skills and science, yeah, you have to know what you're doing to a point, you know. So, yeah, but I have something.
But the parts, do you get them locally?
No. Most of these parts, you have to order them online overseas.
So you spend a lot of time online.
Yeah, pretty much. And money too. Not a cheap sport.
This drag racing seems as if it's an expensive venture. So for online shopping and car parts and all of that, you can spend what, 5,000-10,000 US and more?
I've spent in my personal car, and it's not in the big leagues yet. I've spent in the last year, about $20,000.
US?
Easy.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm not there yet, you know, but hey.
So the cars in the big league would require far more
Yeah,
spend than
yeah,
that.
yeah, quite a lot more money. One item that makes the car go fast is a turbocharger, and you'll find turbochargers ranging from 700 US to 3,000 US dollars, give or take.
I'm sitting here
That's just one part.
and I'm listening to the sums of money that you spend on a car that's not even an everyday car.
Right.
It's a race car. And we buy a pair of shoes for 300 EC, not 300 US. And it's a problem. And guys spend 20 and 40 and 50 and $60,000 on a car.
But it's recoverable, not like shoes.
I don't understand that.
Well, okay. A pair of shoes, you wear them, the soles
Yes.
go, you throw them away. But
I fix them
I could
sometimes,
build,
yeah.
well, you fix them, but they're for your personal use.
Yes.
I build a car, let's say it runs me $40,000, $50,000. If I decide tomorrow I'm done with it, I could
You
sell
can
all the
sell it.
parts.
Okay.
The parts are pretty much valuable ones and not damaged, and Intercooler you may not get top dollar for them again, but you can recover.
I realize recovering
it's
funds,
easy.
but
It's
I
easy.
was wondering how you would recover the funds.
Yeah, it's easy, it's easy.
Just sell the parts.
Just sell the parts. So even if you throw it in today, you can get back 60% of your money.
But I can't return the shoe.
No, shoes done.
Once
That's it.
worn.
Unless you have a yard sale and somebody has the same size foot.
That's an unusual way of rationalizing, but
Yeah.
I'll leave it there, ladies. I tried my best. All right. Someone said to me, carbon fiber wheels can cost as much as 4,000 US dollars.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
why carbon fiber? Why not regular rubber?
There are a lot of different materials used in drag racing motorsport, and in order to get a car faster, you have to try to get the strongest components and sometimes the lightest components.
Okay, I understand.
No, carbon
why it
fiber
is.
is actually just like this carpet we're standing on. It starts out carbon fibers. It's a fabric, and there's certain processes that it goes through. It goes into a mold, and it makes this item. But carbon fiber is pretty much expensive. It's light and it's strong. So what you have now is, just imagine you are carrying 2 cement bags down the road. Takes you a longer time to get down the road, right?
Yeah.
All right, you get 2 strips of carbon fiber. You get down the road quicker because it's lighter and it's just as strong. So what you have, the conventional wheel that's built out of either iron or aluminum, it weighs 10 pounds. You have a carbon fiber wheel that will weigh 5 pounds. Same strength, sometimes even stronger, depending on how they weave it together. And you have a car carrying less weight, transferring into more speed and more coverage in a quicker time. But they're very expensive.
Are there drag racing cars that are made from metal?
Different materials. Look, a drag racing car can start out as a car that you bought from the showroom. It just depends on what level you want to go to.
You soup up the engine.
You soup up the engine, you can lighten the body parts, you can change a fender, bumper, bonnet to carbon fiber to lighten up the car. It just depends on what you want. Drag racing doesn't have to always be the fastest car. It's a competition. You could have a car from the showroom, and they do give you times for cars from the showroom. A car from the showroom running, let's say, 13.5 seconds. And you could have a competition between most cars that are running within 13.5 to 14 seconds. It may boil down not only just the fastest car, but the better driver. The light changes, this driver moves off quicker than you. He may have a slower car, but because of that time he moved off before you, he reaches the end before you. So the competition scales from what we consider the slowest to the most radically built cars that can do as little as 9 seconds through
But it's
the
always
quarter mile.
cars, no trucks.
Trucks can be involved too. They have trucks out there in the world, in the US and so on, doing 9 seconds in a quarter mile. That's from here to down there, 9 seconds. Yeah, diesel trucks too.
You can't turbocharge, you can't supercharge, and you can't use nitrous oxide.
You can use any. It depends on what you want. Everybody has a different method of getting the speed. It basically starts with an engine. If you figure you want to just not utilize what they call, these things are called power adders. Nitrous is a gas,
Yes.
right? It ignites in the engine, makes the engine operate faster,
Wow.
right? A supercharger and a turbocharger are similar, but they use different methods to get air into the engine, because the engine is basically a combination of gas, fire, right?
That's why sometimes you have the explosion.
Right. Explosions, your regular vehicle, every time you turn the key, there's an explosion, you know. You don't hear it. What you hear
Don't
is
get me scared,
no,
please.
what you hear is the car coming on, but a lot of people
Yes.
don't understand what actually takes place. The injectors throw gas into that space in the engine. Air comes in from when the flap opens to let air in, right? And then there's a spark plugs that do a spark, and that ignites the gasoline, and it sends
So
it
there
to
can be an explosion.
every car that starts every day is an explosion.
Oh,
That's why
stop!
they call it ignition.
You're causing
Ignite.
me not to want to drive again.
But that's what cars do. So all you're trying to do is to get that process to a different level.
Yeah.
So like I say, you can start from the slowest car, and by the time you multiply these factors, yeah.
Now that we've built the high performance car, we'll be talking about the actual races next. It's a fast and furious night on the Paula show. And can you imagine? He said each time I turn my key in my ignition,
There's an explosion.
there is a controlled explosion. Now I don't want to drive again. Stay with us. We will be right back. You should not have told me that. We've introduced you to drag racing. We've built the performance, well, the high performance vehicle. And now we are actually at the competition. So Mr. Shane Potter, I have to ask you, we're ready for the competition. Is it only in Antigua that these cars that we're speaking about compete, or do your racers travel overseas to compete?
Yeah, we have a few of our racers have traveled overseas, close as Nevis and as far as Grenada. They have different tracks around the Caribbean. Well, some of them are makeshift. They used to be like old runways. Grenada has an area called Pearls. That's an old runway. Quite a few of our guys have gone down there before, like Donnie and so on. He flies for Liata. He has also has a race car. We've been over to Nevis a few times, St. Martin. And yeah, we've been
Montserrat?
a few. No, Montserrat. Montserrat came over here already.
Oh, okay.
And I think one of our guys does do a back and forth with St. Croix. So
But I've heard of races in Puerto Rico. None of your people have gone to
the Puerto Ricans have been here already. We've
they
invited them,
visit.
I think, twice at least. Yeah, they've been to the John I 4th and 5th. And I think when they used the Stadium Road, because before it became a track, official track, there were some cars out of Miami and so on. So we've been in touch and competing with regional and international folks.
So you have people visiting and you visit.
Most recent Montserrat was here the other day.
How did you do?
We did well. They won a few classes. We won a few classes, and there's this car. Well, the car that took the Outlaw class, which is a real fast car. He's actually from Nevis. It's a car called King of Cali. They've been here a few times.
King of Cali?
Yeah.
So that's like a 3.8 seconds.
Well, what they do for these faster cars, I don't know if they're going to venture into a full quarter mile run, but for these faster cars, they do a distance called the 1/8. It's not the full quarter mile. It's just a portion of the quarter mile because of how fast they are. And they do something like about 5 seconds, 5.3, 5.8 to that 1/8 of a mile. Technically, if they run the full quarter mile, they may run something like 9 or 8 seconds. Or
9 or 8 seconds?
give
I
or
thought
take.
that would be about 4.5 or so.
What you do, the 1/8 is before the quarter mile. So basically, it's a longer distance after the 1/8. So what you get at the 1/8 is, let's say, 5.3.
Yeah.
The rest of the distance makes a quarter mile.
So
it'll
the
add on.
1/8
It will
is
add
the
on time. It's a shorter distance because of how fast these cars are and our capabilities to host them. They run a shorter distance than the quarter mile for safety.
What about this parachute thing? Why is that necessary?
It's most necessary for the faster cars because, like you said, they're capable of reaching speeds of 200 and 300 miles per hour, give or take the type of car and the type of track surface. So what that does, instead of applying the brake, it actually uses air. That speed that they're traveling at, and they let it out, the air hugs into it and slows the car down quicker without applying the brake. And then
So
they can
you
apply the
don't
brake.
have to apply brakes?
You have to, but at a certain time. So that really slows down the car tremendously. Then you apply a brake to finish the rest of it. Sometimes they use it, depends on how fast they go to the quarter mile.
Because if you attempt to apply brakes while the car is moving so quickly, it might tumble.
It may not tumble. You can't really aggressively apply the brake because just like you say, if you have to coast it a bit, and then the rotors are kind of hot, right? So what you do now, that parachute helps to cut you down even close to 50%. That when you do apply the brake, it's safer. But that's for the really fast cars. You find that the cars down to even 10 seconds don't need that, because the upgraded brakes, because you have to upgrade your brakes too. There's a lot of things. You try to get the part of the speed together, but you have to get the stopping part together too. Because the standard brakes after a while become
Worn.
Yeah, not worn, they become insufficient, depending on how fast you get the car to go. So you need competition brakes to slow you down quicker.
What do people get from driving so fast at a short distance, and what just bragging rights?
It's an adrenaline rush. It tests your skill, because a lot of people look at it as two cars moving and going there, but the amount of things that take place within that 10 seconds, 12 seconds, you'll be surprised. You still have to wait for a light, and you can't jump ahead. Just like athletics, if you jump the gun, you get disqualified. So you still have to put your car in what we call a pre-stage. You still have to find that spot where your car is best to move off. You don't want to go too much, you don't want to go too little. You mean what we call bog down. You may move and then drop down and have to pick back up. So there's balancing the accelerator, there's waiting on this light, there's counting the stages, and still trying to move without hitting what we call a red light.
Yes.
And then the mind games that are played between you and the guy, especially if you really want to beat this guy really
All
badly.
this in 12 seconds?
And the light didn't even go green yet. Then you get off the clutch, you hit the accelerator, and you have to make these gears while making sure you stay in front.
Easy P, that sounds like my kind of thing, because when I'm
And
moving
if
in
it's
my
a nail
truck,
biter, depending on how your car is set up, if it's a nail biter and you have to draw for what we call the nitro, that just changed the game altogether, because I could go into third gear, you're still there, and I don't want you to be there. There's this little red button I hit, and nitro, bam, and it picks up.
I want nitro in my truck.
No. It's not that simple. You have to be very careful with that. That can actually, if it's applied at the wrong time, before you even get the chance to move, you can blow open a part of the engine. That's how serious.
And that's an explosion.
Sometimes, I don't know if you've ever seen them on TV, and before the car even moves, you see the bonnet fly off. Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, the pressure goes in, it's not really being utilized, and it blows up what they call the throttle body. That's damage right there.
This is an Infinity one.
G35-2.
Infinity G35-2. Ooh, we're in an Infinity G35-2. Oh, yeah. Woo! How fast are we going? Woo! Woo! That's so fast! Where's the brake? We're not going back up fast, right? No. Okay, we're cooling the engine, right? Yeah. Okay, let's cool the engine. And let's cool, oh my heart. How fast were we going?
120, 140.
120